Okay, this is going to be a review of the 2018 Ford F-150 XLT 4x4. This I've had about a year and a half. I've owned it. It's my personal truck. I've put about 10,000 miles on it, and I want to go through and just give you an overview of the features, the functions, how things work, how I like it, pros and cons. And then I also, along the way, I want to give you a comparison of how it compares to a 2017 Silverado 1500 LT that I had previous to this. So I had that about 6 months and sold it right away and got this truck. And so I do like this a lot better than the Silverado. I want to point out why, and then also want to point out a few features that I like maybe better on the Silverado than the F-150. Give you kind of a comparison. All right, let's take a look at the original window sticker. So I'm the first owner of this vehicle. I bought it new, so I have this. But it's the 4x4 Super Crew, which is the full four doors, 145-inch wheelbase. That's the short bed. 3.5 liter EcoBoost V6. This is the big motor you can get in there. Very powerful, and coupled with the 10-speed transmission is awesome. This has the black exterior and then the gray cloth 40-20-40, which means it's got the split bench in the front, which is helpful. It holds 6 people, which is great. We need that. We have 4 kids, so we need to have that extra seat. So the options it has the 302A. So for an XLT, that's a great package to have because it gives you all these features. Gives you this is the cost for the EcoBoost upgrade. Blind spot monitoring, floor mats. It had navigation. Max tow package with the 36-gallon extended range fuel tank. That's awesome, guys. If you do any kind of towing, it's awesome to have 36 gallons of fuel. Box link, side mirror spotlights. I'll show you how those work. Sync Connect. That's so you can connect to your phone. It has an app. You can start and stop the vehicle. Tailgate step in the rear tailgate. Sliding window, and then the LED lighting, and then the inverter outlet in the front. So base MSRP, if you see here, $52,040 is the base MSRP. I bought this in March of 2018, so it was, still early in the model year. Let me show you exactly what I paid for it. So this is just a couple of the rebates. They had this stupid protection plus etching. They etch the VIN numbers into the glass or whatever they do. That was mandatory, so no way of getting around that. But basically, the purchase price was $42,798 plus a $300 dock fee and then tax, title, license on top of that. So I would think the rule of thumb I kind of used was I tried to get about $10,000 off MSRP, so I got close to that. But that's kind of a good starting point, rule of thumb, if you're looking at. So look at the total MSRP. Don't look at. Some dealers use this. They'll use this. They'll use 54. Like for example, they'll use like this before the factory discounts. They'll use 54.5, and if you try to get 10 grand off that, you're at 44. So use the blue here, the total MSRP, and try to work around 10,000 off of that. That's probably realistic, I would think, for pricing. So that's how the pricing worked. Let's get to the vehicle. Okay, the first advantage I think the F-150 has over the Silverado is the looks. And this is a bright sunny day, so hopefully you can get at least. I think the looks are better. Silverado is not as good looking, in my opinion, as the F-150. I actually like that in the XLT package you get these chrome steps. You get a step bar included. The Silverado didn't do that. The exterior keypad, that's a great feature, especially since you can just lock your keys in here and then you can just you can use that. That's something the Silverado didn't have. And then around the back, I want to just show you in the bed. This has the tailgate step that comes out. And then it also has a handle that pops out there as well, but it's not that useful. I mean, it is when you're climbing in and out constantly, but just to jump up there real quick, I don't get it out for that reason. So I think the Silverado kind of wins with theirs, where the Silverado has their step right there in the bumper. that's a little more useful than this step. This step takes a little work to get it out. I sometimes forget to get it out, but it is useful when I do use it. The other feature I think the F-150 has better is this LED, these LED lights in the bed. There's a button right here. You got a light on this side, and you've got a light on this side. It lights up really nicely. My Silverado didn't have that, and this is a nice feature, especially when you have a tonneau cover on and you want to see it. I also added this after the fact, but you can add a strut assist so it doesn't come down. The XLT doesn't come with assisted tailgate. So before, when you open up the tailgate, it'll just slam down. So I added, it's a $50 part, but you can add it to assist the tailgate coming down slower. So that's something that the Silverado has automatically, where the Ford, you have to kind of upgrade it if you getting the XLT version. Okay, so this has the light gray cloth. One thing that I would have liked is to have this at least be an option for like a black cloth instead of gray. Gray is the only option unless you're getting leather, and that I think you have to get the Lariat version. So I didn't want to upgrade to Lariat. So this is really the only color option. So it would have been nice, like the Silverado, you can get black cloth or black leather in their LT, whereas in this you have to get basically the gray cloth if you're getting the XLT. So that's one. Okay, here in the cab, the interior layout is really good. I really like the Sync 3 screen is great. Controls are all nice. It has your four-wheel drive controls right here. This is the game changer here. I would, if all else was the same and this was the only difference, the trailer backup assist, this is a game changer, guys. If you haven't seen this in action, I'll do a video of how this works, but this, you can steer a trailer with just the turn of this knob. Okay, there's some parameters you enter into the system after you take some measurements of your trailer, but this allows me to back up. I have a boat that I tow regularly. I pull it into my garage. I have to back it into my garage at a 90-degree angle. This feature helps with that tremendously. And when we go out, my wife is able to back the boat up with using this feature, and she can't back a trailer up traditionally. So this is a great feature that really helps. So if all things were equal, I'd still pick the Ford because of this backup assist feature, which is awesome. I use it a lot. I love it. Okay, down here you've got a couple USBs. You got a 12-volt outlet. This does have heated seats, which is great. It doesn't have, the XLT doesn't come with the dual climate, which I don't miss at all. I think it's, I really didn't need that feature. Like on a Lariat, you can get dual climate controls. Over here we have the inverter, 400 watt inverter. Up here you have, I think this is better in the Ford, the sunglass holder. This in the Silverado, you can't even put a pair of sunglasses up. So this is actually, you can put a good size pair of sunglasses up there and it works great. This does have the rear sliding window right here. That's how you open and close that. And then it just has the different lights, dome on, dome off lights here, all LED. Okay, one thing I don't know, all the new cars are going to this, but this start-stop, auto start-stop, I hate it. Because the steering is electric steering, you're at a stoplight, and if you need to, and it turns off, if you need to turn the wheel for some reason, you can't because the steering's locked up because of your electric steering. So as much as I remember, I try to turn this off when I start the vehicle because it just is intrusive, it's annoying, I don't think it helps at all, so it's kind of dumb. Below the trailer backup, you have your trailer brake controller, adding your gains and adjusting the brakes. One thing I think is interesting is that on this steering wheel you have a lot of buttons. You got 5 here, 5 here, you got 4 here, and then for your cruise control you actually have 6 buttons for your cruise control. I think this is kind of excessive. They could have done this into 3 buttons, but you've got 6 different buttons for your cruise control, which I think is quite a bit. So you have close to 20 buttons on the steering wheel. So I think you have excessive buttons on the steering wheel. You do have a lot of control and features, but it's kind of tough remembering like which ones, like for example, the phone one. This one's the answer, this is the hang up. In another vehicle I have, it's just the same button, hang up and answer. You don't need 2 buttons for the same feature, I think. Okay, I am glad that it does have a mute button. And then this is your like Siri, for example. The gauges are great. No complaints. Everything's good here. This has these LED spotlights. Okay, this is an option, as you saw on the option list, and I thought this would be kind of a cool option to have. And it turns out that there's a very rare instance in which you're even able to use these. You can't be, if you're in park, you can't use them. If you're going above like 8 miles an hour, you can't use them. So it's like if you're going very slow, you can then turn them on and off. But it's like they're not very useful because there's very limited situations through which you can use them. So I thought it would be more useful, and I haven't used it at all. But I'm not a big off-roader. I'm not going like off the trail very often, so I'm not, maybe it'd be more helpful in that case. Light switch here, you got your auto, headlights, parking lights off, you got your dimmer control, fog lights, and then you can shine this light under the bed if needed. The brake is an electric parking brake. It's kind of weird. I mean, I'm used to just being able to push a pedal down here and push it on and off. This is an electric parking brake. It's kind of strange. You have to have the vehicle on to be able to disengage it. So it's not bad. It's just different than what maybe you're or I've been used to. Okay, we're back in the driver's seat here. We're just going through. So if you see, just about 10,000 miles on this. So a couple things that I really like about this: that 3.5 liter 17. So it's got, I don't know the exact horsepower torque numbers. The torque's close to 470 pound-feet of torque. You can feel it. This thing is a rocket, man. This thing, if you're towing, this is the vehicle. This trumps the Silverado in power towing. One thing I really like is the gas tank. 36 gallons is awesome. My Silverado only had 26 gallons, and I towed about 600 miles one time, towing a boat of 6,000 pounds, and I had to stop every 100 miles for gas. It was so annoying. That's why I sold it, really. So gas tank, power, torque of this motor is awesome, and coupled with the 10-speed transmission, that makes it even better. One thing that, it's a V6 basically, but if we look at the fuel, like if we're looking at this was a trip I recently went on. Let's see here. Okay, so I drove about 900 miles. Half of it was towing, half of it was getting there. I went and picked up a boat, and my average miles per gallon was about 15 miles per gallon. So that wasn't great. I mean, going there, I got about 22 miles of the gallon on the highway. That was without towing. And then coming back, I averaged about 8 miles of the gallon towing. So towing, and that's only towing about a 7,000 pound boat and trailer. So it wasn't at max capacity. This thing can tow close to 10,000 pounds. But fuel economy, I think is a little lacking in towing. But the fact that it's got a big enough gas tank that I don't have to stop every 100 miles, I'm fine with, because I don't tow every single day. If I did, I'd have a diesel anyways. But the fact that I can, it does hold enough gas to compensate for the mileage. But otherwise, the fuel economy is decent when you're not towing. When you're towing, I think it goes down significantly. Okay, the Sync 3. This is a nice feature. You've got your audio, your phone connections. Nav. This does have the navigation, which is helpful, especially if you're not using your cell phone. Like I was driving through rural parts of Wyoming, and I needed to have GPS-based navigation, and this was nice to have that. So pretty straightforward menu options. This all works well. Okay, because this is an XLT, so it has the, well, it has the third seat up front, which I needed. We have 4 kids, so when we tow the boat, we're all 6 sitting in here. Now, this does have a nice, it has 2 cup holders here. This spot here, you know, can fit an iPhone. Like this is I have an iPhone Plus size. You know, this fits there nicely. That's a nice spot for the phone. Storage is not much for storage. I mean, just a little spot there for storage. One thing I wish that this had, that the Silverado had, was that there's no power in here. I wish there was just like a USB outlet right in here, and I could run a cord and charge my phone right there. Instead, I've got to run the cord from either one of these USBs or the 12 volt, and I've got a cord strewn across here. So it doesn't look as tidy as if it was more concealed. So that's one complaint I have there. But the fact this has the 6 seats, so the Silverado had the same thing. It had the flip up seat in the front. I think this is a much better design and a safer design. So if you see here, it's got a headrest. So it doesn't look the best that you got a big headrest hanging out right here, but the fact that it has a headrest is a great safety feature. And then secondly, if we lift it up here, it's got a full shoulder seat belt here. Okay, the Silverado just has a lap belt. So this, not only do you have a headrest, but you got the shoulder safety belt, you know, seat belt to be able to hook in right here. So you can safely have someone sit here. So I think this is a much more usable seat than the Silverado gives you. It doesn't recline, so if you see this, it sits a little more upright. See, this seat's a little more reclined. That one is too. This one sits a little more upright. This doesn't recline at all. But it's nice that you can actually use this seat, and you know, the passenger's protected in that they have, you know, a full seat belt and a nice headrest. Now under this this middle seat in the front, there's a latch here that comes up. These cup holders can come out, so we can take these out like this and flip them down. So if you have someone sitting there, they have, you know, full access there. One thing that would be nice, I think the Silverado had this, is that this was a locking compartment. You know, you lock it with the key. So it'd be nice to have a safe place to keep, you know, valuables, things that you want to keep out of sight, and locked up, that you could put them in here and lock this. So this is not locking, it's just latched down. So it'd be nice to have that locking. Okay guys, back seat wise, this has a lot more room, in my opinion, than the Silverado. So if you see, for example, sitting in here, this is where I have the seat, and if you can see how much legroom I have by, you know, just sitting here. So adults fit back here extremely comfortable, and I have a child seat. So I have one in a child seat. The rest are able to sit on a regular seat. But the fact that my son has room to not only stretch his legs out, but the kids can get in and out of here just fine, and not have to worry about, you know, bumping the car seat or squeezing by. When my son's sitting here, kids can get in and out of here just fine. So this has a lot more leg room, a lot more room in the back, and the floor is flat. You know, you lift these up, and you've got a flat floor, and these stay up. These are locked up in position. In fact, you got a nice big flat floor for storage if you need to use that. It's great. One last thing I wanted to point out, that this does squat quite a bit. So if you put some weight on it, you know, if you're towing something with some weight, it's going to squat down 2-3 inches, and therefore it's going to affect the handling of it. So this could benefit from, you know, adding a helper airbag, Ride Right, Firestone airbags or something like that would prevent it from squatting as much, you know, that you could air up. So I mean, that's a pretty simple solution to that, but as stock as is, it could use some assistance in not squatting so much when you're towing with it. So, but other than that, the truck has been great. I've had zero problems with it. 10,000 miles, as you'd expect. That's pretty low miles. But truck works great, looks great. I think from the few of the things I pointed out, you know, it is better than the Silverado for my applications. I do towing, and it's not my daily driver, so I'm not commuting in it, but I do drive it on occasion and towing the boat, for example. So it works great for that situation, and for my situation where I need the extra power, the extra torque, the bigger fuel tank. Whereas you can't get that in the Silverado LT package. So guys, thanks for watching. That's just my impressions. Hopefully, maybe you learned a few things if you're considering both F-150 and a Silverado. There wasn't much change from 18 to 19 on the F-150s. The Silverado did change significantly from 18 to 19. They redesigned it. It looks uglier, in my opinion, in 19. But hopefully at least gives you an idea. I really like the vehicle. I'm gonna keep it longer, and it's performed great for me. Few things here and there, of course there's always going to be a few things that you don't like, but overall the features that it does have that I really like, the engine, the gas tank, the trailer backup assist, the leg room, the interior space, it's awesome. So hopefully that helps. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe. Thank you very much.